Hello, you. It's me. And damn, if Knightconvos didn't get me in the feels tonight. Um, they made an incredible video that I suggest you definitely watch if you haven't watched it already. They were talking about another creator that they discovered named Candace Star, who I will check out as well because now I'm curious. But she was going over a lot of the specifics of this Gypsy Rose Blanchard case, and some things came to light. Also, I do want to say, for those of us, myself included, who have been abused, neglected, etc., it's definitely a hard video to listen to because Candace was very candid about some of the general things she went through, and Lovey as well, unfortunately had been through some tough things as well. But let me just say, and for Lovey specifically, there's nothing to be ashamed of, and there's nothing to be embarrassed by. You did nothing. You were an innocent victim. So was Candace. So was I. But that's something that I think we all kind of share and bond over, and which is why cases like Gypsy Rose Blanchard's case is so, we're driven to look at it and to pay attention and to seek out the answers. I myself, as I've said before, originally I believed Gypsy because being an abuse victim, you want to side with other people who claim to be abuse victims. But as I did, and as you have, I'm sure, by now, you realize she was never an abuse victim. She was the abuser. Her mother was the victim. I believe that wholeheartedly. And this is something that they discussed in that video tonight. Yeah. But it's nothing that anyone should feel ashamed over or embarrassed by. If you're a victim of something, it's what you do to stand up to it. And let me just say, Lovey did tonight. She stood up and continued with the video even when it was really, really hard. And I am so proud of her for that. Oh my goodness. Also, I'm still suffering through terrible allergies. So I'm very stuffy right now. Part of it was being upset by her video because it was a big tearjerker. Anybody who's been through abuse, and even if you haven't been through abuse, you can sympathize. But it's not something to be embarrassed or ashamed of. It happens. It's a terrible thing. But to stand up to it and to be brave and to talk about it, that's the most amazing thing that you can do. Out those fuckers. That's what I say. I didn't, for the longest time, I said nothing because I was treated so poorly as a child. I didn't think I was worthy of it. I felt like I deserved it. But nobody deserves abusive, terrible, awful treatment. Nobody deserves that. Except for maybe the abusers themselves. Sometimes, when somebody has been so horrendous and abusive, you only wish that they could get that same treatment back. But unfortunately, with someone like with Gypsy Rose Blanchard, enough people believed her bullshit story that now she's celebrated as the survivor and how wonderful and great she is when she's not. She was the abuser. Let's make that clear. In my opinion, she's the abuser. Now, what I wanted to talk about were some things that were brought up. The first thing is that in the documentation, it says that Dee Dee passed on on June 9th. But Nick didn't get there till June 10th. Another thing that has always bothered me is the blood splatters that were in the hallway. No one ever explained why that occurred, or why that was there, or even whose it was. Also, besides the questionable 17 entrances, Nick only claimed 4 and got very confused when the officer, detective, whoever it was that was interrogating him, said there were 17. And that Nick was left-handed, and a lot of those wounds look like they came from someone who was right-handed. Okay. And that, I think it's been pretty well known. I've talked about it a few times, certainly. That's disturbing. And we have all seen where Gypsy got angry with Nick and would threaten him if he didn't pay attention and figure out what she's saying, etc. So that marries very well. And also, I've heard this before, but it didn't really click in my brain. Gypsy had a lot of bruising on her knuckles. And also in the documentation, Nick said that Dee Dee didn't really put up a fight. She kind of put up one hand, and that was it. And she got a superficial cut on her left hand from that. But she didn't really put up a fight. All these things put together, well, let's just say that it doesn't put Gypsy in a great light. I think that maybe she attacked, this is my opinion, my thoughts, allegedly. I'm not saying that, I'm only looking at the evidence that was presented to me, paying a little more attention to some of the details. It seems to me very likely, in my opinion, that Gypsy fought with her mother and did everything she could to knock her down. I don't even know. I don't even know if Nick remembers well, because he always wants to protect Gypsy. I don't know if Dee Dee actually flipped her arm up, or if Gypsy did it for her. I mean, who knows at this point? But I believe there had to have been some kind of a fight. And Gypsy had done a lot before Nick even got there. If Dee Dee was gone June 9th, and Nick didn't even get there till June 10th, I mean, that in itself is a huge red flag. Something happened and they need to investigate it. And apparently there are ways of doing it that isn't double jeopardy. So who can we get to look? Who can we get to pay attention? Who can we get to try and restart this and get her back in prison? Because, oh my God, there's so many things that were overlooked. There's her actions, the way she acts is so disgusting and despicable. And I didn't know about the sweatshirt that she said that says your trauma on it. She is not a victim by any stretch of the imagination. And we have seen her try to be a victim of Ryan, which didn't work. Because we saw how viciously she attacked him by talking about, private matters. We don't know if they're even real or not. him taking a certain type of medication, which a lot of people take for a lot of different reasons. It's not just for getting off drugs, it's also for pain relievers and stuff. We don't know if that's real or not. I'm not going to say whether that's real or not. But what right did Gypsy have to cut so deep, so low? She is about as trashy as one gets. She is garbage. And for her, just that one little thing makes her a disgusting pig. Okay, in my opinion, by her actions. To cut so low, to hurt somebody, possibly really harm them by saying something so disgusting. It whether it's true or not doesn't even matter. What matters is that she felt attacked, so she went lower. Ryan didn't even punch, as she puts in her little video about, you punch me, I'll punch you 10 times harder, with whatever freaking accent that was. Ryan only showed proof that she had contacted him in January. That's it. With, are you going with Amber J? I don't even know what's going on anymore. Okay, great for you. That was all he did. And she had to possibly disclose very personal information that should not be out to the public. And her little sorry was all about, oh, me, as per usual, which is probably why she took it down, because she looked even more disgusting. Oh, Ryan, I know how much you love me. But we can't do this anymore. I can't play this game with you anymore. I can't do this dance. She's the one who started it. She's the one who continued it. She's the one who was trying to string Ryan along so that he wouldn't tell her secrets and so that he would be one of her minions and do as she wanted. Fortunately for Ryan, he's now hopefully seeing the light. We can hope and pray. Nick, I don't know. Nick is a special case because Nick is not able to think in the same ways that most people would think. He struggles with a lot. And who knows? Gypsy's probably getting messages to him, even today, keeping him on that string. Who knows what she's told him? It needs to be investigated. The fact that some of Gypsy's minions could go in and harm Nick in any way, shape, or form is disgusting. The fact that his appeals didn't come up properly, I don't know a lot about that, so forgive me for that. But he has no more appeals. I know that. The fact that there's like a whole organization that Toddy One Skip has talked about where they're supposed to be helping Nick and yet they've done nothing. She worked very hard to get letters to ask for clemency because of Nick's disabilities, and nothing has happened. There's been no information, and it seems like this organization, Cornerstone organization, is just set up to keep Nick quiet and not really to help him get out. I believe now more than ever that Nick needs help and assistance that can really help him and understand his situation. I don't know how to do that. If I could think of a way to do that, I would say it out loud, but I don't know how. I'm not familiar with law at all. I'm familiar with some things, common sense kind of stuff. But I feel so bad for Nick getting caught up in this horrible situation. I feel so sorry for his mother, who was so damaged by this situation that she's no longer with us. And I feel so sorry for Dee Dee because she tried to protect her daughter, who she thought through the years was very ill, did everything she could to take care of her, took her to numerous doctors, tried to figure out what the heck was wrong with her because nobody knew. And here she is getting smeared by the person who took her life. How does that make sense? I know life isn't fair. But by God, what the hell? It's just disgusting. And it hurts. It hurts to know so many bad people get away with things. But Gypsy is a show-off. And I think that's going to be her downfall. She likes to show off. She likes to prove, no, I'm a good mother. No, I'm really good at this. Oh, no, Ken and I are just great together. I don't know. I've heard some things. By the way, the creator who talked about the possible alleged drug using, her name is Ash 2TOO Trippy, and she is a creator who is also on YouTube. So I went and subscribed because I'm curious to see what else she says. She seems to be a far more reliable source than even I had known. That's not to say that all this stuff isn't alleged, because at this point it is all alleged. It hasn't proven to be facts. But it's all just a sick, sick thing. Crime, it's never straightforward, is it? And Gypsy, I mean, she's been lying and deceiving people since she was 6 years old, when she had an operation. She lost the use of her legs, and then the feeling came back, but she didn't want to tell her mom because she thought her mom wouldn't love her anymore. I would think her mother would be so happy and proud and would love her just the same, knowing that she could walk. But instead, Gypsy had her carrying her everywhere, even after a terrible accident where Dee Dee was harmed badly. She was still catering to Gypsy. Even when Dee Dee was very sick, she had a lot of issues and problems, you know, the kind where you can barely get out of bed. And she was still pushing Gypsy around. She was still taking care of her, without, in my opinion, not even knowing that Gypsy was lying about all that. I mean, the day before she passed away, she was pushing Gypsy in a wheelchair when she needed a wheelchair because she was really sick. Gypsy was using her like a freaking chauffeur. It's so gross. And it's so gross that the media won't let loose. They're finally starting to. I really think so. I believe that wholeheartedly. They're starting to see all this information come out and maybe taking a step or two back. They need to take a lot more than that. And Gypsy just living her best life. Ha ha. But she's a show-off. She likes to prove people wrong. She likes to try to manipulate and make people feel small by poking at the worst things about them. We'll see how long it takes for the world to poke back. I think it's already started, and I hope it continues. Because Gypsy needs to finally be put in her place. She needs to be where she belongs. And it's not outliving her best life. in my opinion. But anyway, I did have some good news. I feel weird saying it now, so I'm just gonna put that on the back burner for now. But go see Knightconvos video. It's hard to watch, but I think it's important when it comes to Gypsy Rose Blanchard learning specific things. And yeah, I guess that's all I gotta say.